I'm Richard Stanley, a volunteer with the Fayette County Historical Museum. I like to talk about automobiles, and this is the oldest automobile that we have at the Fayette County Museum, and it's an Empire. The company was located in Indianapolis, and they never acknowledged Connersville, but they built their cars here for 3 years. The Empire Company was started by, among other people, Carl Fisher, and when he sold the company, he was more interested in developing the Indianapolis Motor Speedway than he was in developing the Empire automobile. So this was sold to other investors. And again, the offices were located in Indianapolis, but they needed a place to build their cars, and they leased the old Rex Wheel Works company, a factory here in Connersville, and built their cars here for 3 years, from the fall of 1912 until the fall of 1915. At that time, Empire moved the factory to a facility in Indianapolis and built their cars for 3 additional years until the owner got tired of it and closed the company. This is a 1913 Empire, and it's really a neat car because this is an original car. It has not been restored, so the paint is 106 years old. This paint had been put on with a brush. That's the way they painted cars at that time. They didn't spray, and there's just a few places where if you get the light just right, you can see some brush marks, but otherwise it was a paint varnish mix, and it flowed together really well. And so it really works out nicely that way and has stayed very well. Lots of things are different about this car than what we're accustomed to nowadays, beginning with the steering wheel. The steering wheel's on the right-hand side instead of ours. We're accustomed to the left-hand side, but the right-hand steering was actually a carryover from horse-drawn vehicle days. When you drove a horse in a buggy or carriage, you sat on the right-hand side, and the reason for that was to make sure you didn't run off the edge of the road into the ditch, and that you didn't have to worry much about traffic otherwise. So that was a major reason. The earliest cars had the steering wheel on the right-hand side, and this car does also. The foot pedals on this car are different arrangement, and quite you need small feet. I think the clutch is on the left as normal. The accelerator is in the middle, and the brake pedal is on the right, and so you still use the accelerator to go faster, but that pedal is located between the clutch pedal and the brake pedal. This car is also different in that there's no gas gauge. People carried a stick with them, and when you were ready to check and see how much gas you had to stop the car, take the front seat cushion out, and you're sitting on the gas tank. So you'd take the gas cap off, put the stick down in and pull it out and see how much gas there is there, and you know whether you have to seek a source for gasoline right then or not. And so the upholstering is original, and the front seat cushion is the only part that's really rough. Of course, that's where people sat, but it's even harder when you think about it. Every time you check the gas or put gas in it, you take the front seat cushion out. That would certainly be rather hard on it. Another thing that's different about this car is the headlamps, and these are acetylene powered. On the running board on the passenger side, it's really on the driver's side, since the steering wheel's on the right, is an acetylene gas tank. People really generally did not drive at night. But if you were out in the evening and it started getting dark on you and you had to stop, turn on the gas at the tank, and then light a match and light your headlights, and hope there's not too much wind on the way home. The side lamps and tail lamp are kerosene, and these lamps were made by the Indiana Lamp Company, Connersville, Indiana. I might mention that the engine was built by Teeter Hartley at Hagerstown. Teeter Hartley eventually became Perfect Circle. The engine is a 4-cylinder, and the block is made in 2-cylinder units, and each spark plug for each cylinder there's kind of a petcock that is a primer. You can put a little gas in it when you're ready to try and start it, or it's also a compression release. And so there wasn't any choke, but when you put a little gas in each primer cup, why it served as a choke. And then the only way to start this is with a crank. And lots of people were injured, even sometimes killed, when turning the crank. If the engine backfired while you were trying to start it, the crank would spin backwards. And lots of people got broken wrists, broken arms, and a few were even killed by it. And so this is really a neat thing to see when you come to the museum, and we hope that you'll make the effort to come visit and look this car over.